Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Brian Good here. It's that time to talk about the upcoming winter forecast. Doing the video version here, more abbreviated, and then a more lengthy discussion will be posted in written form, obviously, on wave3.com. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of snow, but just because I'm a big fan of snow doesn't mean I'm going to forecast snow. The problem with winter forecasting, and a lot of you already know this, it is pretty easy to predict temperatures in a long-range fashion. And when we look at climatology, we can usually tell if we're heading into a cooling or a warming period. The El Nino, La Nina, the warming and cooling of the Pacific Ocean is a big factor in that. So that makes it a little easier. We can kind of gauge how that's going to go. Snow, though, really you can correlate. If it's going to get colder, then yes, there will be probably an increase in chance of snow. And that's pretty much how I'm basing a snow forecast. That's pretty much the only way you can. Snow forecasting is very difficult, even in 3 days. It's extremely difficult after 7 days. And in some cases, it's even difficult within 6 hours. So snow forecasting, while I'm going to talk about where the highest chance where snow will be across the country in a certain time, keep in mind, that is the lowest confident part of the entire forecast by all means, because there's too many variables when it comes to snowfall. And I don't want you to go one way or the other, but I will at least give you what I think, and then we'll see how it plays out. I'm much more confident in the temperature profile than I am, obviously, in the snow. All right, so a snow lover, I got to at least talk about it, right? But just keep in mind, this is purely more for entertainment's sake than anything when we talk about snow, because the accuracy level is very, very difficult way in advance like this. So, having said that, let's have some fun here and talk about what I think we're going to be facing. First off, when we look at the global pattern, one thing you're going to see written in the blog is a lot of talk about the actual ice, the ice cap. The Arctic ice itself has increased much more than what it has last summer into early fall. Last year, it melted all the way down at very small levels. This year, it's much more wider of a level that has taken place compared to the previous time. So we have more Arctic ice at play. What does that mean? That means there's a more of ability for the atmosphere to get very cold in the Arctic Circle. The big question we have to know, it can stay cold and stay that way all winter long, and we can stay completely warm here in the lower 48, even here in Kentuckiana. The key to get that cold down is you have to have the right kind of a jet stream flow to bring that cold southward, and we usually do not see that at least 7 days. Sometimes we can get a hint about 10 to 15 days in advance that it may happen, but with confidence, usually it takes within 7 days, we see the potential for it to dive to the south and southeast. Considering how cold it is going to likely get this winter in the Arctic, we have to be very aware of the jet stream pattern, because any shift to bring this down, we could be talking about extreme cold, and certainly the coldest we've seen in many years in the northern part of the United States. However, there is a chance, we've seen this many times, the jet stream flow, keep in mind, we have other countries in the northern hemisphere that go all the way around the globe. There is a chance that dip of that colder air could happen over Europe, or even over portions of Asia may get the really cold air, and we just stay warm the entire time here in the eastern United States. It's hard to pinpoint what's going to happen, but I do think the confidence level of how cold it's going to get in the Arctic is pretty high. So you have to always caution the risk that it could certainly dive to the south and east into the United States. And given the fact that we do not have a strong El Nino or La Nina, all options are on the table there. So here we go, breaking it down. Sorry that my words are a little messed up here. But basically, we're talking about below normal temperatures found across the Ohio Valley, I think, as we into December. I think we'll see our first glancing blow of cold air developing in the Great Lakes that'll be taking place. So having said that, I think snowfall will be a little difficult at first, because we'll have to overcome a very warm ground in the eastern part of the United States. So getting snow to really stick in December is going to be a challenge at times. The Appalachians have a good chance to see snow, but I think it's going to accumulate first into the plain states and certainly into the Great Lakes have the higher chances to see the heaviest of snow in December. We'll start to get flakes and some light accumulations, even this far south, but our first snows are always very difficult to get anything substantial to actually stick. Now, when it comes to temperatures in the month of January, I think we'll get that snowpack in pretty good shape here in the plain states. That is going to be key. If we get that snowpack, I think it's going to be much easier for the more below normal temperatures to branch themselves out a little further to the east, including here in portions of the Ohio Valley. I do see, though, a good opportunity here in the southeast for what we call the southeast ridge to develop. It's where an area of high pressure can develop in this part of the country. I think there's a chance that may develop again. We're seeing it now in early November, and it wouldn't surprise me to see it again in January. And if that is the case, it's going to be a battle right in through here as far as how cold we're going to be able to get in the month of January. But we're going to have, I do think, a high likelihood of some very cold air at play here and some warm air to the south. We're going to be in between. I know many of you are thinking ice storm here, but I think one of these is going to win the battle. Unfortunately, we're caught in the middle of that. So at this point, I'm going to keep the heaviest snow mainly to the north, but I do think there will be a potential for a couple of decent snow events. One that will develop here. I think there will be a low that could develop on that ridge and track north and east. So I think there could be a band of heavy snow. Likely will miss us. I think it would be Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and then perhaps another low pressure could develop on closer to the coastline and give the Appalachians a pretty good snow. Again, this is what I think is more likely for the month of January. As we head into February, this is another difficult month where I think warmer air will be at play at times, so it's going to be very difficult to forecast temperatures. I do think the core, very cold, is going to be still at play to the north, but I do think some warming is going to take place across this part of the country, especially in Texas, and it could stretch its legs every now and then to the east, and that's going to make a problem for us. If there is going to be a period of ice that we would forecast or potential for an ice event in the Ohio Valley, I think it will be in the month of February. All right, moving on to the snowfall potential. Again, that's where the potential will be here for our battle zone. So I went a little lower on the snow end for that chance. I do think in the deep south, though, if you get the right kind of combination, you can get a big, heavy snow event, wet snow, and I think that is certainly possible in the deep south, heaviest to the north. Again, snowfall in February here is very iffy. I think we maybe face more of an ice scenario than snow, but we'll keep an eye on that. Now, March. We saw this last March where we got cold in the Ohio Valley. I think that potential is certainly there. There seems to be a lag developing the past several Marches, and I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be any different. So I do think some cold. Now, I say much below. Much below doesn't mean frigid. You got to keep in mind we're in the month of March here. So I'm talking about much below compared to what normal would be. And normal at this point would be in the 50s. So it could be in the 30s and 40s here in the Ohio Valley, and even some chilly air all the way down into the deep south. So having said that, it'll be marginal, but I do think there is a chance for some snowfall in the Ohio Valley behind one of these strong cold fronts that have come through. Probably a big warm-up. You get some heavy rain, you get thunderstorms, and then you get the backlash snows in the backside of the low as that low moves away. And I think that it's possible to get a lot of accumulations out of that, the heaviest in the Rockies and into areas of the north. Did you get all that? I know it's a lot. But there's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of battle zones taking place. I just want to stress, I think we're going to have much more cold air at play in the northern part of the country and in southern Canada than we've had in the past 3 to 4 years, perhaps even longer. And that will be a factor because with the warm air trying to win out in the deep south, one of these is going to lose, one's going to win, obviously, and they may both go back and forth several times in each month, and that's going to make my hair get even grayer than what it already is. So that's the latest thinking. I think overall we'll see our average snowfall is a little over a foot here in the Louisville area. I think we'll be close to that potentially. All it takes is one snowstorm, though, to throw that number way off, or to miss one, we'll throw the number the other way. But I think we'll be pretty average on snowfall in general for Louisville. I think it will be colder than what we've seen in the past 2 to 3 years. We have the chance for some single digits into the Ohio Valley. And if we have a snowpack, we will go below zero, certainly. And that's just something we cannot predict this far out. So early thoughts here. It's going to be looking very, very active here because we've got a lot at play than we've had in the past few years. And the drought is now further to the west as well. That is allowing us to have much more of a battle zone here in the Ohio Valley. So stay tuned. There's much more detail on sunspot activity, the Arctic ice, all that. I typed it out. I didn't want to get into discussion on the video blog because I'm already up to 8.5 minutes, and I got to go. So I hope that made sense. Let me know your thoughts, and let's have fun. Let's track it. Let's be safe this winter, obviously. We don't want to make it hurt. Let's have fun tracking it. I will keep you updated on the chances for snow every week all the way through March. Have a good one.